A very good morning to one and all present today. I, Pramod Kumar Pandey, Assistant Professor, DME Media School, welcome Mr. Praveen Nagdaji, Festival Director of Culture Cinema and Kids Z Cinema Film Festival. I also welcome Dr. Amrish Saxena, Sir, Dean DME Media School, and Dr. Susmita Bala, Ma'am, Head DME Media School, and all the faculty members who are present here, and all the students of 2021 batch. I would like to take a moment and introduce Delhi Metropolitan Education to all our participants and guests. Delhi Metropolitan Education is an A-grade premier educational institute affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, New Delhi, and approved by the Bar Council of India. The institute offers BBA, BA LLB, BBA LLB, and BA GMC programs. DME believes in imparting world-class education to its students while training them to develop and enhance their skills. This education and training enables them in taking up challenges of the industry and creating a space for themselves with their competence and vigor. DME Media School is one of the most promising media institutes in the country. It offers BA in journalism and mass communication. It is recognized as a school focused on the growth of its faculty and students through academic and co-curricular activities. Talking about session orientation program, it is being scheduled by Media School every year for third and fifth semester students. We invite experts from the industry to speak on the topics related to the curriculum of BAGMC and give students insights into the media industry. In the same context, we have invited Mr. Praveen Nagdaji, who is Festival Director of Culture Cinema and Kidzi Film Festival. I would like to introduce our guest of the day. Praveen sir is the Festival Coordinator of Culture Cinema and Kidzi Cinema Film Festivals. Culture Cinema is a unique concept-based film festival celebrating the world cultures through cinema and Kidzi Cinema, India's first online international children's film festival. He has also been on the jury of various cultural events and film festivals. He is the founder and CEO of Peregrine Public Relations, a full-service corporate communications and public relations consultancy firm delivering a pan-India reach. Peregrine Public Relation has two divisions, which is Navi Digital, providing services in the digital space, and De Jure, offering specialized legal public relations services. He is also the founder and CEO of White Coffee, an independent events and celebrity engagement and management company. Praveen sir is also a regular contributor as a weekly columnist with Reputation Today. His writings have been published as books by Lambert Academic Publishing, and apart from this, he has also been an independent film critic with the Daily Guardian, a daily publication coming out from New Delhi. So we are glad to have you with us today. And before I hand over the stage to Praveen sir to take the session forward, I would like to request Professor Dr. Amrish Saxena sir and Bala ma'am to welcome the guest with the planter, and then I would request Amrish sir to take the session forward through his formal opening address.
So welcome everybody to day 2 of session orientation program SOP 2023. This morning we are starting this session for 5th semester on this subject, which is event management. Besides all other subjects, this subject is really assumes importance since a lot of activities are expected to take place in this semester. Two major things which are there. One is the Media Fest Vritika, and other is SIFI, the International Film Festival, which is having its 5th edition in December. So as a subject also, since it has been prescribed in both theory and practical, so you need to understand, you need to study a lot on this particular subject. And today's session, incidentally, Praveen Nagdaji is today in Delhi. Otherwise, he has his own setup in Mumbai. But since he organizes 2 film festivals, as Pramod has already told you, as part of those festivals, the second festival, one Kidzi Cinema and other this Culture Cinema, he takes this festival at different locations. And in DME also, he has been coming in previous years with the award-winning films in his festival. So his festival receives entries from all over the globe, and the best of those films, some selected films, he is coming to DME for a screening. So tomorrow is his session for film screening as part of the culture cinema. And since he was coming, so I requested him to take this session as well, because his expertise is on public relations and event management. So we are lucky, and you people are lucky that he is taking this session, and a lot of new things will be revealed to you as part of PR and event management. So I welcome once again to Praveen Nagdaji to be with us on this session, and I'm looking forward to having a fruitful session today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We now have Praveen sir who will be taking the session forward, but it's a request that let's make this interaction, interactive and participatory. So note down some questions, don't allow it to be a passive one-way dialogue. So from our experience, we can tell that it's going to be a very good session. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Amrish sir. Thank you, Bala ma'am, and everybody else over here, and most importantly all of you. So, I mean, they've talked a lot of good things about me. Hope I meet your expectations. What we have done today is I put together a presentation which is structured. It's a bit of academic also, because we are studying, so I think it's got to be that way. Then what we can do is, actually there are 3 presentations depending on how fast or how slow we go. The first one is the main, which is very basic one, because you are going to get into event management space now, learning all that. We will take you through that presentation. If we have more time, I will try to take 1 or 2 more presentations, and you can note down your questions. Once we are done with the presentation, maybe you ask me those questions, we will interact, and we can keep it as much as interactive as possible. But this is still little bookish, but it's good. I mean, it's important that we take you through all that steps. It will give you a fair idea of what the whole thing is when you call it event management. How old is event management? Can someone tell me? How old is event management? 2 answers from you. Yes?
Sir, I don't know that how old it is, but marriage is considered as the oldest event.
Good. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so we will explore this, how old is event management here. Okay. So that's event management basically. Marriage is fine, one event, family event, but professionally when you apply, when you apply the management practice to the creation, development of festivals and events, okay, and it involves whole lot of things which comes in the marketing, including brand intricacies, target audiences, what is the concept, planning the logistics, and then making that event happen, which includes what? Meetings, conferences, seminars, etc., etc. Even today what we are going through is an event, right? Each event will have its own intricacies and details to be worked out, but depend on what is the event, you will plan and execute that. So, how do you define events? Occurrences that are significant, that create a social gathering, okay, around an activity. Then you have something noteworthy which happens according to a set plan involving networking of a multimedia package, thereby achieving the client's objectives. Now, here you get into the professional side of the event, right. Live multimedia package carried out with a preconceived concept, customized or modified to achieve the client's objective of reaching out and suitably informing the sharply defined, specifically gathered target audience. Watch these words: sharply defined, specifically gathered target audience, right. So, today's target audience is you students, part of a course, and therefore, what is being delivered to you has a specific module. If it was a festival, things would be different, right. If it was a mall event, things would be different, the what you will present will be different, right. So, we discuss these definitions. Okay. Events are also known as experiential marketings. Okay. You make them experience, make them feel what it is, right. Live interactions process which facilitate interaction between clients and audiences. So, commercial events, when we are talking, that is the aim. It generates excitement. Today you may be less excited because it is to do with academics, tomorrow you will be more excited because you are going to watch films. So, tell your friends also, more and more friends should be coming. Okay. It fires the need to be part of something large or small. Okay. So, that old is the event, right. That is an event, that other the event. Hundreds of years back, Romans, lion pits, Olympics. Today we have Olympics, today we have Asia, we also had G20 few days back, you all have seen. Okay. Objectives of each of event are different. Something is for fun, something for business, something is for sheer entertainment. Yeah. So, that is we are talking about various types of events. So, you have events of leisure which are meant for fun and recreation, you have events which involve participants, but no immediate results. There are cultural events, whether to do with heritage or the kind of impact they make on society and participants. Community involvement is there. Community is a group of people who are living in the same locality under same government district. Now, these are definitions of communities, but again they have common interest, whether it is scientific, whether it is medical, whether it is business. You have a lot of conferences, right, a lot of academic conferences, scientific conferences, we have medical conferences, doctors conferences, right. Each medical subject, each medical stream has its own conference. Cardiologists will have their conferences, osteo people will have their, so all osteo specialists will be there, and they will be talking about the new advancements and all those things, right. So, community specific events you will find. Now, that is the scientific side I am talking. Now, you look at the cultural side also. So, you will have events of arts and exhibitions and artists, and you showcase their paintings. So, depends on what segment or what part of the community that you are talking about, you have those events. So, events have again what implication, depends on the who is organizing and what is the audience. So, it can be a commercial event purely, a music show or a sangeet kind of songs, or just any big artist coming from abroad and performing something. Okay. Commercial, political, we have seen our politicians handling a lot of events, gatherings, addresses, those are also events, right. Sales driven events, you have these road shows where seller and the buyer both will come together, you will have stalls, they will showcase their products. So, that is also an event. Then of course, personal events, marriage and a lot of other things. Marriage is itself today is a very big industry, event industry. You have 2 crores to 20 crores, 50 crores budget only in wedding, depending on who is able to spend what amount and how much they want to show in the society as their worth or whatever. Okay. But yes, personal events have less numbers, political or social event will have large participants, the audience will be much huge, because the impact they want to achieve from that audience is also huge. A politician will look at a large number of people and getting them to vote for them. So, the audience is different, message is different, the scale of the event is different, the scale of management is different as compared to the family events. Now, what are the typical characters of any event? Unique, the event has to be, event is always unique. So, whether it is a wedding event. If you see, look at 10 different wedding events, all of them will be having their own uniqueness, right. It is intangible. Rituals, okay, it has certain rituals. Social events tend to be ritualistic. Again, wedding or we have different in India is it's a culturally diverse country, right. So, we have very varied forms of practices that we have in each other religion and cultures. In the same religion, different cultures, the way a Maharashtrian would marry is different than a South Indian would marry, is different than a North Indian would marry. So, there are rituals which are a part of your events, okay. Then there are personal interaction, then time scales, how long, how much time you spend. When we look at weddings, weddings is usually a celebration. Nowadays, okay, we finish in 2-3 days, 4 days, but if you go back little 10-20 years and you go back towards your town side, move away from town side, you go to villages, you go to rural areas, weddings are month-long celebrations. They start from some ritual or some ceremony like some threading 1.5 months back, and then there is some ritual, then something else. So, they celebrate this whole thing for almost a month, month and a half, the wedding process. Even after the wedding, there are some celebrations, they visit different family members and they go to different places, and so it's a culturally very diverse and unique thing, okay. And there are other things like sometimes events can be weird also, sometimes there is a wow factor. Again, it boils down to what is the audience and whom are you talking to, right. So, uniqueness, when you talk, it is about remembering the event, it is about the recall of the event. Do you remember the Michael Jackson event when he came here? Yes. Do you remember something very unique about it? Yes. So, good events will have the unique proposition, will have a very strong recall power, people will remember it for long. Weddings can be really radical different, as I said, we discussed it, right. So, now when you talk intangibility, you can see, experience, but cannot touch. So, it is about your experience, that is why we call it intangible. You can sense the ambience, you can feel the experience, and that is what the memory you carry through, that is what you remember, that is what you cherish, okay, that is what you enjoy. And each event has a specific intangibility to itself, right. Then giveaways, fine. Rituals. So, say rituals, events, they carry a specific tradition, or they will be of a particular genre, or you look at some events, Oscars is a very big film events, biggest film events, right. IFFI, have you heard of IFFI? What is IFFI? Full form of IFFI? It is India's biggest film festival, which, yeah, India, yeah, absolutely. So, that is India's biggest film festival, every year it happens in Goa, it is a 10-day event, right. Oscars also, I am sure everybody know, right. So, Oscar selection process is going on right now, and there is a body called Film Federation of India, which is in the process of selecting and recommending the film for Oscars, and we are handling the PR for that, news dissemination, etc., for that activities for Film Federation of India, just for information, because you are talking about events, I thought I will share this with you also. Then you have personal interaction where things like sports. Now, sports spectators are as much as a part of tournament, right. The excitement, the josh for every sixer and every force that you have people get up and so that's the kind of that's an event. They build sports event, personal interactions jahan hota hai, they build atmosphere, they build that ambience, they build that togetherness, oneness. It does not matter you are sitting in the front row or the last row, but that excitement is something which makes you all feel part of the same event. You are not playing there, but you are playing, right. With your josh, the sportsmen also it impacts them, right. So, that's what. So, again the audience. Then you have time scale, some events have short time span, like today we will finish off in 2 hours time, sometimes it goes for days, right. You can note down your questions, we will take the questions after the session. Yeah. Yes. Now, when we were talking about the characteristics of events, I said some events are weird, like how do you, what do you mean weird, like sometimes venues can be really offbeat, right. Any example you can think of offbeat venue? Plenty of. People will go and get married on a boat in a sea somewhere, right, or they will go to cruise and then get married, or similarly there are different experiences, and when you try to create a uniqueness to the event, the whole recall value of the event increases, you know. Gimmicks, people do lot of gimmicks, you know, sometimes they are dangerous also, right. You must have seen in wedding people coming from big trolleys and they coming down and then you know, big floats or julas or whatever, and you know. So, you create a gimmick to make it different from the rest, and people remember and talk about it. So, if you talk about it, I feel good about, you know, me, yeah, everybody is talking about it, yeah, out of ordinary. So, it is not something which is routinely done, but something different, unique. Now, how do you create wow factor, you know. So, when you, what is wow factor? Trendier, futuristic venues, you know, something people have not thought about it, something which is a new trend, like, you know, few people have used, or some celebrities or big well known influencers, they have used something, and you want to also, you know, get there and try to experience, you know, the same kind of event for your audiences, right. Then you have some creative things, or you have some historical sites, you know, any a festival, for example, which is being organized and is organized in some old historical, you know, temples, or you know, other historical monuments, like, you know, creating something in Hampi. So, that way making it very unique or different in terms of experience. So, what is the importance of events? Okay. They have opened a new channel of communication. Now, this is the commercial angle. The personal sides, we have a call experience events, but even personal side this also comes in, but for corporates or for marketing or for products, this itself opens up a new way to communicate, right. You have ads, you have billboards, you have, you know, all other things, but this is something which companies have been using to promote the products, experientials or whatever, you know, sampling or whatever, but directly they are talking to you through the events. Companies want to desperately get through their customers, again that is why they look at this, and then this helps them to cut the clutter. So many people doing so many similar things. So, if they do a unique event, then people will attract towards it and they get their message through easily. Okay. And of course, used to have fun, inform, sell, convey, express and induce trial, that is when it comes to product. Okay. Have you attended any such event of corporates, of products? How many of you have attended? Okay. So, when you look at the what kind of events are there, what types of events are there, right. So, you have product launch, depending on the kind of product, depending on the kind of audience, one will execute a launch, okay, on ground launch, sometimes in a hotel, sometimes through a fashion show, sometimes through something else. Okay. Market entry, a company has a new product, but is not there in India or is not there in Delhi market. A South Indian company wants to come and, you know, make an entry here, they will use an event and they will promote the event. So, while they will get access to their customers through an event, the promotions and the media and the PR around that event will also help them reach large number of people beyond the direct captive audience that they will get from the event organization, right. Brand extension, again these are marketing terms, right, but I am sure you must have read through all those things. Okay. So, Nirma washing powder, right, Nirma. Now, if you have Nirma plus as a new brand, okay, extending that brand, okay, you launch, the company will launch around this and do some event around it, right. I am giving you an example. So, that is brand extension. Then of course, you have dealers conferences. Dealers is a part of the distribution network through whom you reach the customers, right. You will have sales conferences, salesmen do good business, more business you do, we give you promotions, we give you special prizes, etc., etc. So, you do more work. So, companies do sales conferences, you have anniversary celebrations, you have entertainment events, you have religious events. Two big religious events can somebody name? Kumbh Mela and Jagannath Puri. वैसे you have also other yatras and all, they are also events, right. They are also very well coordinated events, because they are not done by one person to a specific audience, but because of the nature of these big properties, it is very complex, right. Then you have community events, local community events. Any example in Delhi? We have a lot in Maharashtra. Tell me which ones? Ganesh Chaturthi and 2 days back Janmashtami, yeah, Dahi Handi. So, Navratri of course, yeah, but Navratri is north, a lot popular in north also, Maharashtra, Gujarat, yes, but Dahi Handi is more popular in Maharashtra, right. So, the structure of events, what I mean, how large, what is the magnitude of event, you know, how many people, it is it addressing 100 people or 1000 people or lakhs of people, okay. What kind of venue is it? Is it Ram Leela Maidan or is it just this campus, right? It is open or closed door, is only for us, or can everybody else from all over the Noida can be part of here. So, that is how the event, you structure the event. It is a public event or a private event, there is a media involvement or no, and the big events are there, you will invite the media, they will come and cover the event, and sometimes it is a niche event, no need for media, but rather we communicate directly with our audience and address their needs and requirement. Yeah. So, what are the key elements of the events? You know, so 6 of them. Infrastructure, that covers your concept, the people, the talent involved in the event. Second is target audience, whom are you addressing, whom are you talking to, right? Clients, event organizers, venue and media. Okay. I am sure most of these things you would have read. So, basically, so that is the first part of an overview of the event. We have, I think we have enough time, so I do not mind taking next 2 presentations. It will give you a really comprehensive idea of, you know. So basically events are experiences that are addressed to the target audiences by the clients in order to create interactions leading to generate or increase the awareness, sales and interest. That is a summary. So, here we will look at event management as a like a product, okay. I will take you through some similar 15-20 minutes of theoretical thing, which obviously will be taught to you by many of your professors in the days to come. Yeah. So, why do we call, why is an event itself is the product for a event manager? Because it addresses, you know, if it meets tangible needs and intangible aspirations. Aspirations is what, just remember we will talk about it in the coming slides, okay. And then what it can offer, like the events that are augmented, how does it, what it offers. So, it offers you the reach for interaction, it gives you a complete communication package, media interactions and special offers, etc., etc. Okay. We will talk about each of these as we go ahead. So, in the hierarchy there are event family, the event class, the event types. Okay. Something is for brand building, something is for festival, something is for branded or sponsored events. Okay. We will talk about it. So, what kind of events are there? What are the category? Various categories. They can be competitive events like Asiads, Olympics, etc., 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 archery, championships, blah blah, sports. Similarly, so many essay competition or whatever theatre competition, drama competition, even artistic expressions. What are they? So, art galleries, right, paintings, the cultural celebrations, right. There are exhibition events, that one like you are talking about Auto Expo, and there are charitable events. What are charitable events? Any example?
Like an NGO doing an event.
Correct. You remember there was a very big event Sri Sri Ravi Shankar was doing some time back, in near Noida itself, I think, and then there was some issues with the regulations and all that. It was a huge event, right? And similarly, there are other events which are to do with spirituality and all that they keep. So, that is culture part, the charitable part. They can be special business events that we had talked, right. So, competitive events, what do they do? Test of physical strength like sports, mental ability, chess, right. Pragnananda, everybody knows? No? You do not know Pragnananda? How many of you know, how many do not know? Pragnananda. Oh, that means you are not reading newspapers. He is the next Vishwanathan Anand probably for us. That kid, Chennai. Yes, 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 yes. He lost the world championship, but he reached over there. I mean, so challenge between two and many. That is competitive event. Then what are the characteristics of competitive events? There is these are all often mass oriented events. They are heavy on excitement, right. So, it is like India Pakistan cricket match, was it 2020 or a 50-50 or a 5-day match, we all are very excited, right. Nowadays that excitement is little less, but it is there, and maybe we cannot notice because earlier we all used to be glued to television sets, right. Now we are glued to our mobile. So, yeah, we are excited, but maybe in individual capacity, not in the group as much as we do not see that. Okay. It provides more reach, okay, but it is less interactive, right. The competitive events are less interactive, okay, and primarily used for creating a good visibility, okay. It has a long term impact, okay, and helps in corporate or brand awareness tremendously. Okay. Artistic expressions, presentation of artistic talent, right. So, you will have a artist, he will showcase his work, 25 good paintings, they will be sold in lakhs of rupees by the art aficionados, those who are art collectors, right, or even common public, depending upon what is the budget and what price the painting is being sold for. Interest in art has now not been limited to the top echelons of society, but all of us appreciate art, right. Singing, dancing, theatre, right, many of them. Now, what are the characteristics of these events? Primarily, it is entertainment, having fun, enjoying, right. Audience does not appreciate commercial interaction in this kind of events usually, and more reach, but less interaction. So, you may not have much interaction with the artist who is performing directly, it is rather aimed to give you a larger spread of reach among the audience. Okay. and primarily what is it used for? Image consolidation of brand. So, keep reinforcing that image if the corporate is using it. Okay. Post event mileage of course in terms of media, and telecast opportunities, live or deferred live or whatever way, right. So, an IPL is an example of this, or similar other big events. Cultural, now they may have mythological issues to talk about, they show traditional values. All these Govindas and Ganeshotsavs are something we are carrying out for like hundreds of years. Govindas probably much older. Ganeshotsav is still started around Lokmanya Tilak's time, 100-year-old, before independence, right, and then it became quite a movement. Nowadays Ganeshotsav is celebrated in other parts of country also. Even in Delhi I am sure you will have people bringing Ganesha and keeping them for 1 day or 5 day or whatever. In Maharashtra we keep for 1 day, 5 day, 10 days, and then we immerse, right. So, then you have fairs and festivals, right. What do they do? What are the characteristics? They are open usually, they are free entries, everybody can participate, okay. No cap, no fees usually to see and watch the event, right, and they are very informal and they have got much more interaction as compared to the competitive events that we talked about earlier, right. What are they primarily used for? Reaching into rural population actually. A larger spread of the society is touched, right. Rural is one part I am saying, but you can have really cut through the social economic sector. If you look at A, B, C, all categories you can involve them. Community or religion focused strategy in this case usually is applied, right. So, to the point communication, specific communication, and direct sales opportunity also sometimes it provides, depending on how a sponsor is involved, what are they doing. Most of the Ganesh mandals or whatever that we have are sponsored by somebody or the other, and there are hundreds of them actually. Okay. So, that is the benefit that you can take out from the event. Auto Expo, exhibition events. So, we are discussing little more over. So, what it does is presentation of goods and services, it does sales or display, it is commercial in nature, and some of the examples that you see, air expos or motor shows or plant shows or flower shows or whatever. Yeah. So, we are talking about exhibition events, right. So, exhibition events are primarily used for what? How to capitalize the media hype easily. You can create a database, all the visitors who can come, their registrations and all, which eventually used as follow up marketing communication and all. I am sure you must have experienced that if you go to an expo, you left your visiting card or mobile number, then after some time you will get a lot of follow up messages from them, next events, special launches, whatever. And it is also used for test launches of products. So, sometimes you want to bring in a new product, you want to see how the response of the customers is, okay. You launch it at one of the exhibition, one of the expos, okay. Give free samples or give free experiences, or make them use the product and give their feedback. So, that gives you a sort of feeling how a sample is behaving with the product, how it will probably, if you extrapolate that to the large audience, how it will fare. So, accordingly they can change the strategy, or in terms of even changing the product and things like that we can do. So, it is a testing down somewhat the exhibitions. Then look at charitable events, right. So, charitable events are collection or dispersal of funds that is involved. NGO, one of you gave example of an NGOs, okay. It is also aimed at social welfare, right, And nowadays you have a lot of charitable events, a lot of your Kathavachaks are there. If you go beyond the Delhi or a metro, if you go to small towns, you have huge religious events which where people come, they donate a lot of money. A lot of money is also used for charitable purpose and all, right. What are the characteristics of charitable events, right? These are again mass based events, whether it is a music concert or a cricket match, okay, for a cause and case oriented, to help people in various walks of life on the need gap that is there, that they want to address, okay, whether it is to do with health or whether it is to do with nutrition or whether it is to do with something else, right. They would collect funds and channel the funds to the purpose, towards that purpose, right. So, primarily it is used for societal marketing opportunity, right. Free media publicity, yes, media respects if you are doing something free and good for philanthropical for the society. Corporate will always have a very positive rub off from this, because corporates means business, business means profit. So, if you are doing something which is a non profit activity which is good for society, generally you will have some good takeaway in the media, okay, and goodwill generation, as we have talked. Then you come to special business events. Okay. Now, special business events are usually, you have to be unique, you have to be different, right, then you get noticed. So, how to do something uniquely or differently, how to be noticed, whether it is a audience or whether it is audience through media, either ways, right. And they have, their aim is to get direct commercial gains, So, how much, if I do an event, can I increase my sales, can I push my new products, can I gain additional audience for my new products or the existing products. Okay. So, it is a commercial linked, all corporate events are linked to commercial gains. If I do a sales conference, I motivate my sales people and make them do more. If I give them sales bonuses and all and publicly announce and give them recognition and give them special certificates and trophies, they are motivated and they are bringing more business to me. So, that is sales, that is corporate event. Okay. What are the characteristics? So, basically there is an equal opportunity for reach and interaction between both of them, right, and it is a client driven event typically. What is it primarily used for? Product launches, retail events, merchandising, demonstrations and sales inducements. So, these are the business objectives that a corporate event is linked to. They want to achieve all these objectives if you are doing a corporate event, right. Audience can be anybody, whether customer or sales or the trade partners or the business channel or whomever that you want to, but eventually it has to be linked to the gains in your business, right. Variations, how we have discussed the typical events and what are the characteristics. Now, we go a little more about each of the event and we talk about how variables, what are the variations that can have in one of the event. We will discuss all these points in little detail in the next slide. So, the variations in the events can be made on the basis of various things: time, short term, long term, budgets, low budget, medium budget, high budget, depending on what you want to achieve, locations, where you are handling the event, what is the venue, what is the place, okay, what is the value that you are trying to deliver, what is the concept of the event, whether it is artist led event, which is the artist, whom are you bringing in, what you want to make the artist do and how you want the image of the artist to give you a positive rub off on your image, okay, in which all aspects we will discuss all that, okay, and the client led things. So, they can be like time frame based events, they can be pre planned events, one you can have a regular basis events, sometimes you can have fixed events. Now, for example, you have festivals which have every year, which happen every year, you have corporate events, sometimes you can have a recurring events, you can have a monthly event, monthly seminars, monthly conferences, different venues. So, it is all time frame based, okay, variation. Sometimes you can have ad hoc, you decide on something specific to talk about, you create that event, and it is not regular, but it is short notice one. Okay. Then you have business and strategy led events. Okay. So, you can have a sponsored event, you can have fully sponsored or partially sponsored or multi company sponsored. Okay. Dealer meets, conferences are usually sponsored by the corporates themselves. Okay. They will take you to Hong Kong and Malaysia and give them a 5-star treatment over there, and there they will talk about the work and their strategy and all those things, right. Again they are all client driven. Then you can have events of which are ticketed events. Okay. Ticketed events are driven by organizers, right, because it is for them ticketing is the source of the revenue. So, they will spend through promotions, marketing, reaching out to them, and what tickets are being sold will be revenue apart from the sponsored. Okay. Interaction or reach is as per the budget, depending on what size of the event is there, accordingly they will create the. Sometimes they can be a very niche audience, very elite audience, so for example, auction of some rare diamonds, right. You and I will not go there, but the big corporates will probably go and they will bid for it or whatever, or there can be some rare art event, right. So, you have those kind of events. Then you have big budget events like which larger the reach and larger the interaction, really talking to masses. You have small budget event which is more interaction, but with a limited number of audience. So, you can have small level gatherings. It can even be in a housing society, it can even be in a club, it can even be in an educational institution. It can happen depending on what is the message that you want to convey and what is the product you want to sell, or what concept that you want to discuss with that audience, right. Again in business strategy led events, they can be location based events, changes of course as per the demographics of urban event, rural settings, or NRIs, Indian cuisine and attire. So, depending on what is audience, what you are you are going to a urban area, but you are giving them a very rural kind of setting, rural experience, right. So, you must have heard about these specialty restaurants, Choki Dhani and all, right. They give you very Rajasthani kind of sitting ambience, and so even corporates, when you are having some event, you can create an event in that kind of setting or that kind of unique feeling. So, addressing a rural town audience, but giving them a rural setting, it makes them feel good about a different experience, right. Similarly, you have NRIs, you call them, they long for Indian cuisine or Indian food or Indian attire, because they, for them the whole ambience in life is different, right. So, if you create something for them, then you bring a uniqueness of, similarly I mean you can do something to remote, India is a diverse country, right. So, if you experience something from Manipur or Nagaland or South India, then it is a different experience that you provide. So, that is how one can look at, international events. If you look at there, you have to have things like cultural sensitivities you taken care of, there are travel restrictions and all that. So, you have to plan for all those things, right. In domestic events, if you look at, the variations can be in the boundaries of the country, city or rural. So, if you are doing something in village, you will plan it differently, okay. You are doing something city, you will plan differently. Localizations, languages, all those are things important, right, to consider. And then of course, infrastructure and all those things are one looks into when you are organizing the event. Concept based events, right. Now, in concept based events, you are looking at creative content which is very good, because then only you will be able to highlight that concept, right. Again, these are big budgets, locations are also very unique or exotic or different, like the marriage of Deepika and Ranveer, what is the name? Ranveer Singh, not Ranveer, Ranveer Singh. So, I think they married somewhere in Italy, right, and media had all done, hyped up all those things, the uniqueness of that place, right. So, you do that. the events which are low creative content, they have very standard settings, but again it depends on what is the message you want to communicate and how what you want to address through the event, who is the audience. So, accordingly you will choose all this. Okay. Then there are events which are artist based events. So, if you have new artist, then it is important to event industry. Event also build their profiles, remember, it is not just you and I get a good dose of entertainment, but the new artists also use to build this for their own profiles, right. So, it is two-way communication, right. And then as if the artists are established, then it is premium, these are big tickets for you, they also demand a lot of premium, they also ask for a lot of monies, right. And these are also multi-city events. Now, mostly established artists, because there is already so much of goodwill and credibility that they have. So, they want to maximize that, and they would probably look at a large multi-city events. New artists will probably go slow depending on who is promoting them and how they are getting the support. They will go step by step, and they will aim to become that established one in the years to come, right. So, again what kind of variations that we have in this client industry based events, if you look at. So, it depends upon the industry what type of event is there. Okay. Consumer goods will have a mass base to create brand awareness, they are usually tied up with sales promotions, right. Industrial manufacturers, look at the nature of event will be little different. Okay. They will talk of some discussions or interactions, etc., because you are not talking to consumers, you are talking to business peers and the business interests, partners, etc. Then you have other things like social organization events, which are usually supported by trusts, right. You have clubs, you must have heard of Rotary Club and Lions Club and this one that whatever, they have very limited audience. It is much easier to create for them, because they are doing it within those their own circles. Of course, when they do something for the public, then it becomes a public event, right. Then there are family events. The very first question being answered was a wedding event. So, again they are dictated by financial constraints. You have a birthday party, you can spend as much, limited audience, limited budgets, or your engagement ceremony or shadi or whatever, right. Then you have political events, which are rallies, big rallies, okay. Elections, logistics are always the main issue, plan large number of people, bring them together, transportation, picking them, dropping them, all those things happen nowadays, and many other things also which I cannot talk about right now. Okay. Then you have educational events, like one of it we are having today, presentations, award functions, sports, cultures. You go through so many events in your academic career, right. Every month you will have something new happening, you are experiencing that, right. All that is event. So, if you want to learn some event, actually what you all should do, best part of learning is observing. Okay. So, whatever you are doing, you observe it well. In an event, all of you may have your own roles, right, but you observe others' roles. There are groups, there are teams, each team is doing different things, right. So, observe that, document that, and when you document whatever work you are doing, that gives you best learning actually. Any event you take any event that you are having over here, take the next event, how you planned, how you shortlisted the speaker, what you did, what social media you are doing, what logistics you are doing, if somebody is traveling, what you are doing for him, how you are ensuring that everybody is coming and gathering together, what is kind of deliveries is being made, then how do you are putting together and sharing that information with each other. So, look at all of these things, right. So, this is almost standard everywhere. Okay. Yes, so events are varied in form and they differ from case to case and client to client and brand to brand, right. So, that is the variations that we talk. We will have one more small presentation like this on planning the event. So, there you will see minute aspects of event planning, पहले क्या करते हैं, बीच में क्या करते हैं, बाद में क्या करते हैं, पोस्ट इवेंट के बाद में क्या करते हैं, We will discuss that, but maybe I can take some questions because I think it's been a one-way communication for so long, no? So now I can hear from you. Any questions? Yeah, take the mic, no? It will be good. I am not boring you, no? This time it is little, no sir.
Yeah, hi sir.
Earlier it was, no sir.
So, recently, sir, I had worked at India Today and Times of India.
Yes.
During that period, I was invited by major companies like Gigabyte and
Yes.
Samsung.
Right.
So, sir, they always like, by their companies, there always a risk of like inviting press, as there's no guarantee like they'll write a positive review or negative review.
Right.
So, how does company handle that?
So, see, that is tricky and that is a challenge, right. So, you always have to look at making it more newsworthy. So, if you can sell that news angle to the media that look, this is the news, and if you do not write this, your readers will miss out on this, then you can make sure that it is covered. Yes, every news that you give is not covered by everybody. Even when we as a PR agency pitch to client, we say that we are not going to ensure that this is going to come definitely in Times of India or definitely in Business Standard. Okay. We are going to pitch it to everybody, we are going to give the same news angle to everybody. Okay. Those who accept, they will write about it. So, it is also a bit of management of expectations from the client. On the client side, you have to manage them and tell them, look, what is possible and what is not possible. As PR people, you have control only and only till the time you give the content to a journalist, that is it. After that you cannot control. However, having said this, because you have worked with so many clients all your life and your experience itself tells that you can deliver an output. So, that is it, that is how you have to manage the expectation and get it covered. What else? So, I am still having more questions on PR, I guess, but on events part we can talk some of the things that you want to, if you observed something in what I was talking here and you want to talk, ask me something about that.
An event management company where we can find the if we only organize corporate events, then how we can manage the variations in those boring corporate events, like making more interesting. And
so, depending on what the event is that you have, you try to bring in some uniqueness to it, something of which will interest everybody. So, while you have a corporate event, typical presentations, add some touch of entertainment in the evening through some kind of songs performance or dance performance or some kind of theatre or drama or one act play or stand up comedy or whatever, you know. So, look at always mix of things when you have very academic kind of thing or very strategic discussion led thing which puts a pressure on your brain, mix it up with something which makes you feel good, right. Yes, backbenchers, I was also a backbencher always. I am here talking to you now, do not worry, I want to hear from you. And यहाँ तो backbenchers are top benchers. No questions? Questions हैं तो आप बता सकते हैं. हाँ?
So you have a great and vast experience in events. So how things are changed in this digital age in this field?
So many things, so many things. So earlier, many years back, events would be very limited kind of, you know. In fact, a significant change in last 20 years, events have changed drastically. As an industry, it has come up actually. As an industry, it is a new industry. It's come in 20 years only. In 90s, late 90s, there was nothing called event management as such, right. Advertising agencies used to do most of the events. So, when there was a product launch, we will talk to hotel, book a hotel room, we will talk to some dance troupe performance, they will come in the evening and perform. Before that, we will, so ad agencies will prepare content also, will prepare the presentation also, they will even call all their guests, dealers, etc. They will take up the whole turnkey work for, but their primarily job was not this. Okay. In the last 20 years, this has become much more evolved. Okay, there is a specific industry. The event management companies have come. There are institutes which specifically train only in event management. So, the nitty gritties, the minute things. So, here you have a very complex course of which delivers you a lot of other parts of communication, but there are specific institutes which only train in event management. So, and they talk about each aspect of event management, corporate event or wedding, how to handle a wedding, what all things can be done. The vendors you deal in the wedding are different from the vendors you will deal in a normal event of a corporate, right. And similarly, you will have different vendors when it comes to organizing a big music show or a big performance, right. In the last 2-3 years, further changes happened. Events have taken shape of online today. A lot of offline activities you could do it online, right. Of course, the experience is not the physical experience is different, but again depending on what is your objective of communication, what you want to achieve, online events are a big thing now. I mean, we run festivals online, film festivals online, we screen the films online. The films can, the screening partner that we have, he offers a reach in 150 countries. So, people can be sitting anywhere and they can experience the same film festival that we are running from Mumbai, right. So, that is how things have evolved, and a lot of entertainment quotient has increased. If you look at, you have laser shows and you have got really big show biz as a part of the event, which used to be not as much at that point in time, right. So, it is evolved, it has become more, and it has also generated a lot of opportunities in terms of employment, in terms of business, in terms of lot of careers. Just like social media, concept of social media manager was not there 10 years back, right. 20 years back there was no event manager. Today you have event, today you have big event companies, and there are, in fact, there are institutions which are sort of there are bodies, there are trade bodies of event management companies, right. They make industry representation to governments, even in terms of policies and all that. If there is something which is affecting their business, they make the representation to government and try to see that the rules are changed or tweaked or helped, or some relief is sought for them, right. So, yes, that's so it's become a full fledged industry now. What else?
Hello sir, my question is that what is the biggest challenge in online event management?
Good. So, challenge is very similar, audience, okay, and how to reach the people, promotions typically, right. So, in online you have a huge, while you have a huge audience that is available, but you should be able to reach to them also, that is one, yeah. Otherwise, it is all technology driven. So, if there is a technological issue, then you have a problem, you have a network gone, then you are lost. While a good internet connectivity allows you to connect with 150 countries at one point in time, but if network failure, you will get you will lose them all of a sudden, but the physical event probably you will not have, you will still have that, but then there will be some other challenge, right. But logistically it is little easier in execution. You can have less number of people coordinate an online event, and you can have more events coordinated, online events, okay, because technology provides you the support. A physical event requires a large number of resources on ground. I mean, if I have to have an event here, a festival here, then I will have a jury member coming from all 10 countries, I will have filmmakers coming from 25 countries, they will be staying in different hotels, there will be some tie up with that hotel with the festival. So, they get some specialized pricing or whatever, they will need to be, dignitaries will need to be picked up. So, we will have cars for all of them, right, you will have volunteers to host all of them. So, there is it is a complex thing, all that is not required in online space, right, and you can get people from different countries, different time zones, and still come together and share their views, talk about it, have an participate in the event. So, that is about it. Yeah. Yes.
when it comes to sponsorships, what is the right way to approach a brand and how to convince them that they should be a part of our event?
Excellent question. We always find challenge in that activity, okay. It is true, because one has to show the brand fit that the event will provide, the value that it provide to brand. So, suppose you have an event, brand should know that what kind of benefit it will gain eventually and what is the return on investment. Suppose you are asking someone to put 10 lakh rupees in an event, what is their takeaway from there? Do they get a visibility worth a crore? Yes. If they do not get that, then they will say no. If they had to spend 1 crore in newspaper ads and they get certain visibility and certain reach in the audience, if a 10 lakh rupee event can deliver that, then they will be very happy, right. So, that is the main pitch. Now, of course, with what kind of client, what kind of budgets you have, size of event, all those things matter, but ultimately the event has to have a good fit with the brand. You are saying something?
So I was asking, I got a part of the, I got an answer, but I was asking how to approach them, like what is the proper way
Yes.
to reach a brand?
Yes. So, you have an event, you make a presentation, you make a sponsorship kit. The sponsorship kit actually is a definition of the whole event, description of the whole event. What are you going to do, where you are going to host the event, who is going to be the audience, what all things you will do, who will be the key guest, or what is the key activity being undertaken, etc., etc. What is the scale of the event, small event, large event, 4-day event, 5-day event, whatever it is, and what kind of outcome it will be there, and then you peg that with the numbers in terms of, if you are a gold sponsor or a silver sponsor, this is what you will spend and this is what you will get. Once you have that ready, then you will approach the marketing people, marketing teams, or the corporate communication teams. Usually head of marketing would be the right person to approach in a corporate, because it will be going out of the marketing expenses, right. But communication heads can also facilitate it there through marketing teams, because communication person is responsible for the image of the organization and therefore they generally work in tandem. So, you have to make presentations, meet, discuss, negotiate and close the deal. So, what is the event planning? It is a process of planning, okay, a festival or conference or competition, convention, party, whatever, that is what it includes. Okay, it includes budgets, dates, booking venues, coordinating transports, acquiring permits, developing a theme, getting speakers, so many things, decor, coordination, security, parking, emergency plans, healthcare, cleanup. I mean, from starting to finish, there is a hell lot of things which are there, right. That is what we were talking few minutes back, that event management has evolved to an extent that it is an independent business now. There are independent companies which only do event management, right. So, it is a relatively a new career that we had talked few minutes back, and it deals with many aspects of communications and organization. Okay. Event planner is also known somewhere as conference coordinator or special event coordinator or meeting manager, whatever. They different companies, they have different this. So, corporates actually have people specifically for events, large corporates, big companies, right. In mid size and small companies, the marketing people take care of it, right. But when you have a large corporate, they have a separate events department, because there is so much to coordinate. If you see the previous slide, so much to coordinate. So, they have special people to take care of all this activity, right. So, in event planning, you go with the purpose, then you choose requirements, then you look at executing them, right. So, first what is the purpose, like there is a wedding event, there is a corporate event, there is a festival, there is a birthday, depending on what event you have on hand, what is the purpose of the event, then you will choose your requirements, whether it is entertainment, what to do, what kind of things, whom to invite, whom to involve, you need a singer or you need a dancer or you need somebody comedian to come and make a stand up comedy, whatever, where to do it, okay, who is going to be invited for that. If it is a niche event, edit class event, you will have a special invitees, and you will create a very creative special invite and then send to them and follow up. Sometimes you will meet personally and reach out to them if you are looking at only top 20 corporates for something, right. And if that is not there, it is a mass event, then you look at it little differently. And who are the speakers, what is the content of the event. In planning, you will look at the staffing. Okay. So, you have to create a team, then you brief the team, then you have to coordinate with the client, you look at the finer details like food, drink, music, guest list, budget, advertising, marketing, decorations, right. And in event planning function, there is always a cross functional team. The decision making is complex, you have to mutually discuss, agree, well research information available should be there. You need to have good understanding of the client profile, and accordingly you can plan the event, right. Clients always must give you a very clear brief in terms of what they are seeking and what they want to do. So, you have an understanding of that, because if you not having the right understanding in beginning, eventually the final output will be bad. So, you need to ensure that, right. Then micro level event coordination. So, liaison with creative team, finalizing technical specifications, small things are important, sound, light, stage, sets, all those things if you are having any event which involves entertainment and all that, shortlisting artists. Now, what it involves? Event planning function, right. Checking out alternative arrangements, venue details, indoors, outdoors. There are licenses as in clearances. For example, if you are doing an event, you need to seek permission from the local police, you need to have liquor license if it is being served in hotels, right. So, there are small things which comes as a part of the event management. So, if this ticketing or it is not no tickets, depending that you will sort of plan things. There are sponsorships, okay. Then there are risk ratings of the event. We will discuss risk rating in the end part of this, okay. Hospitality issues, hostesses, right, because it is a lot of people are involved in this, lot of vendors and a lot of people, celebrities coming, so you need to have bouncers, right. So, those kind of things. Now, understanding the numbers, right. So, it is about your revenue and profitability and cost, all those things also you have to have a very clear picture, right. So, what is sponsorship revenue, what is ticket sales, what kind of commissions, what kind of production charges, what kind of management fees, what are artist management fees, all these things you have to plan it out in advance. You can't just go and start an event, right. What are your equipment rentals, infrastructure, hotels, venue, food and beverage, all those things have to be. What are the outflows, vendor payments, venue hiring charges, payments to artists and performers, licensing, tax payment liabilities, all those things are part of. So, all this is a business management practice, right, typical business operations, but they all are applied to the events. Then practical realities of logistics, transportation of material, travel, stay, we talked about it, right. Networking, media plan, ads, banners, all those things are also part of the events. You have to plan all in advance. Event planning, services, there are various people whom you have to deal with, right. So, there will be travel desks, there will be travel managers, there will be audiovisual services, there is catering, crockery, convention services, decoration, entertainment, floor plan, food and beverage, invitations, lodging, on-site coordination, registrations, all of it is a part of an event. So, you do a small event or large event, in some or the other scale everything will be applicable. A few things may not be applicable for smaller events, for larger events some things may not be applicable. What are the things you do? Photography, sanitization, security, signages, sound, light, stage, speakers, everything. So, they are detailing all of these things will have a small one or the other vendor for each and everything. So, it is a lot of vendor coordination apart from the while you are planning an event. Okay. So, what you need to know when you execute an event. Okay. So, you need to know what are we trying to accomplish, okay? What is our objective, why we are doing the event, what resources we have right now, and then we plan what we need for it and how to fill that gap, what methods and means to achieve the above set objects, okay? And is it optimal, like can we do it, what is the gap, and we fill those gaps in planning, okay? Here. So, it is driven by purpose and mission. So, university's purpose is teaching, so their events will be driven with that purpose. The corporate's objective will be different here, okay? So, what are the objective, ultimate goal of the entire organization, strategies, process of determining major objectives, okay? Policies, procedures, rules, all of them guide in creating that event. Then there are programs, comprehensive programs defines future use of resources, sequence of required actions, etc., and then budgets. You can have a small event with a small budget, but if you have a huge budget, you can have a large event. You can have a small festival within the college, or you can involve 10 colleges of the city and do a very big festival. Budgets will be different for each of them, right? Then you have event planning functions, okay. So, you have time, it takes time to plan everything. So, you need to plan much in advance, sometimes events are planned 6 months to 1 year in advance, sometimes even 2 years in advance, right. It is a approach that you want to decide whether it is top down or down up, bottom up, whatever, depending on the nature of events and activities that you are doing, okay. Companies can decide how to go about that part. The involvement in communication, participation of relevant people, what kind of flexibility, you have to have a vision, prepare for the unexpected, to know what can go wrong in while you are planning, and to be ready to handle that, right. So, there may be sometimes change in the environment when you are calling it, for example, you are planning an event, all of a sudden there is some social issues are erupting, some strikes have happened, or some excess rains have happened and flooded things. So, there can be anything which is unforeseen which may happen. You need to plan it out in advance and expect, okay, when you are doing what event where and what can go wrong there, and if it goes wrong there, how will you handle it and how will you manage that. Will you cancel the event, will you reschedule the event, or will you still go ahead with the event without impacting the audience participation in that, and to get there what you will do. So, you need to have that backup plan with you, right. And then again of evaluation, etc. So, you can make changes as per the improvisations that is required. Improvisation is the change depending on what event has happened and what situation has come, which you are expecting or not expecting, right. Then of course, you set your goals, you depending on what is the requirement of your organization. Then planning premises are various elements of environments, internal premises, sales forecast hai, organization policies kya hai, depending on that you will plan of that, what is the external premises, technology or economic condition or whatever. You have planning period is a short term, long term, depending on again what kind of event that we are talking about, right. Sometimes can be recurring events, small events, sometimes can be once in a year events. So, you plan accordingly. In the planning function, you look at examine the alternatives, look at the alternative course of action. If you are going through a certain track and you believe it will work or it will not work, then what is the alternative. So, you examine all of that, okay. Evaluating alternatives, analyze alternatives, assess their strengths and weaknesses, look at decision making, finalize from the alternatives and fix the plan. Even in smallest case, for example, you want to do a press conference, right, and do you want to do it press conference in X venue or Y venue. For example, if you look at Mumbai, we do not advise our clients to do a press conference in suburban area. We say do it in town site, right near Mantralaya somewhere, in the South Bombay hotels, or if you cannot make it, do not go beyond Bandra. Why? Because most of the media is centered in South Bombay. So, if they come to suburban area and go back, they will spend 2-3 hours in commuting. So, nobody will want to come. So, when you are expecting 50 people, you will have 15 people. However, if you are organizing a good event, if you have good news to share, if you are doing a South Mumbai venue, you might as well get more than what you expect. You want 50, you will probably get 60, 70 people, right, because for them it is logistically convenient. They will hop out of the office, 10 minutes, reach to venue, attend, come back and file their stories. So, those kind of things. Now, this is one example, but same example can be applied to anywhere, in any event, large scale event, small scale event, and you can decide, you know. So, objectives, you know, so there is acronym SMART objectives. So, they should be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic and time bound, right. So, that is how you set your objectives. Again, they can be different objectives, they can be for raising an awareness of a new product or a person or concept or whatever. They can be fundraising objectives, right, for a social cause or something else. Okay. They can be building on any existing activity that you are doing and it is just a build up on that. Then you can have provide support to other ongoing activities or events. They can be generic, they can be aimed at generating a certain number of participants, right. For example, marathon, right. You can do a campaign to get more and more people to participate in a marathon that is happening after 6 months or 3 months, right. Again, media coverage and visibility, of course, it is always a objective, because eventually that is what gives them a positive rub off to all the corporates. Then in the event planning, you know, you need to build a team, right, a team that can work together in a cohesive manner, good interaction with each other. The creative can interact with the vendor managing the operation sites, can interact well with the manager who is looking at something else, right. Supports the organizer well, deadline oriented, everybody is completing the task on time, this is very important, right, because event is a very complex thing. You have a lot of vendor coordination. If one vendor does something wrong, it, you know, affects everybody else who is involved, right. Somebody is supposed to create a, you have an auto expo, right. So, somebody is supposed to create that exhibition hall, right, and that person has not done the exhibition hall properly in time, right. So, everybody is impacted, because till it is not ready, the sound person cannot set up a sound. Till the sound person cannot set up a sound, you cannot do a dry run. Till you can't do a dry run, you do not know what is really going to happen, right. And then if all that is not done, then your event will not start on time, which means your celebrity or a key person or PM is coming for inauguration, he will not come, right. So, it triggers everything, cascading effect, you know. So, deadline, time oriented, it is a very, very important for us, right. Other thing, yes, people have to enjoy what they are doing, you know, that is most important, because events always very hectic. People who worked in event management, I have known that they start their day at 9 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 8 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 6 o'clock in the morning, and it goes on till 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. and they sleep for 2 hours and then come back to work, and they do it for many days, sometimes 10 days, sometimes 5 days, sometimes even a month. They really slog it, because the events are big, but that is what gives them the kick, you know. Okay, I am there for, you know, so they have to joyfully do it. That applies to any work actually, even studying. If you are joyfully studying, you will do well. If you are studying like a boj, then of course you will not do well, right. So, that is very important. Okay. And then there are committees which are formed, which regularly discuss, update, plan, because large events have a lot of micromanagement of small things, and key people, even the top, even the committee head may not really know what is happening, what is being done by the other person. So, there are regular discussions, they take stock of situations, they ideate, they get feedback from each other, seek improvements, any changes if it is there, they address it, they improve things. Then there is a task allocation of team to team. So, everybody has got a very well defined job depending on what is the scope. Okay. Level of responsibility of individuals is different. Examples: volunteers for fundraising, somebody else handling media, someone handling the material coordinator, right. You have creative invitations, publicity material, responding to queries, promotions. So, whole lot of activities, they are different specific people responsible for that, and they work together to a common cause, right. Then agenda. Okay. So, scheduling the event, its event flow, creating a minute to minute program. That is, if you see these big award ceremonies, functions, actually you have a plan every minute, 13 hours to 13.5 hours. This chief guest will come and take the seat. 13.5 hours, 13.10 hours, this troupe will come here and perform this. So, every activity that is happening on stage. So, in the 1 hour, there will be at least 20 activities happening on stage, right. It is all minuted to the minute, right, and ready in advance. Even the rehearsals are done, large events, award ceremonies and all, which person will come first, which will come second, which will come third. For example, film festivals, when we have, so in film festivals, first you will give the awards of honorable mentions, then you will give the awards of lowest award in the category, then the higher one, then the highest, and then the top award. So that's how. So it's all planned that way. So similarly, whatever you're doing, all that is how the event flow is planned, and briefing, presentation. Then there has to be time for Q&As, right, after the event. If it's a press event, then there is a press which will ask you questions, right. So that's and then the breaks, like some of you might be getting bored now and looking for a break. When do we get a break now? So there is no tea break here. There is no break. We will finish the meeting, then only there is a break for you, right. So that's it. Then of course you have the budget, which is last activity, but most important activity in the whole thing, and you start from there for all the events. So whether it's location, venue, what is the space rentals, what is security deposit, what is the cost of the host, hostesses, manpower, what is the food, liquor, in terms of promotion, how will you spend, what you will do, whatever things you are doing, flyers or posters or hoarding, stickers. Larger the event, larger the expense. Smaller event, lesser the expense, but still you have to plan. You may promote on social media, but you may do 10 creatives, right. You may do something big event, then you have to have a lot of hoardings and posters and paste it all over the city, like G20 that you must have observed in last few days in Delhi if you were traveling out. Then you have things like the materials, presentations, literatures, handouts, okay, in a conference if you so. Then you have MCs and presenters, fees, transportation, stay, meals, all those things are there. Documentation, photography, videography, transcription services, live streaming, webcasting, depending on how and how much, what is the extent of your event, what is the outreach you want to make, what is the audience you are targeting, you will have all these things involved. Okay. Then a plan for the funds, where the funds will come for the event and how will you spend that fund. So if you do not have the proper inflow, how will you be able to make an outflow, right. So you look at those sources, services, and some services sometimes you will get cash or sometimes you will get kind contributions. So some people may not charge money also. Donations and grants, usually governments pay, usually corporate CSRs pay, or the client who is doing something, they will pay. There will be contribution from foundations, embassies, they can be things like development agencies. Again, what event you are doing, if it is a charitable social cause event, then you will engage with somebody. If it is a corporate professional event, you will engage with somebody, but that is how you will plan your inflows. Promotions, you will do all those things like invitations, outreach to audience. It involves inviting them, meeting them face to face, calling them, emailing them, couriering them, whatever, handouts, leaflet, newspaper inserts, local media advertising. So you build the event, you promote it well to attract the audience, and then you get the audience. Okay. Publicity materials have event name, location, time of the event, cost of the event, contact information, blah blah. So all those things are part of your event planning, correct. So it's all about taking care of the minutest of details. So to make the event successful, it's not just what you see, there are so many small minutest of things that you have to take care, and only then you can have the event successful, right. So that's the last slide. We can have some questions.
Does
Yes.
anyone have any question?
Sometimes it's happened then the mishappens happen in the event, like the postpone, the event is postponed, that there are some issues and there are some technical issues in during the event. So how can we manage that type of things during the event?
So most of the times you have to plan for this. You have to know that what can go wrong and what is the backup available, right. So if the power is a problem, then a generator backup has to be there, right. If the event is so crucial, you might as well do it only on generator and not to depend upon the power which is there, okay. If it is to do with the technical side, you need to have an expertise ready and be available that okay, what all can go wrong, and if it goes wrong, how to correct it. Sometimes some calamities or disasters or natural disasters happen, because of which you need to totally call off the event. That time you have to see if you are doing that, what is the impact. Is it a ticketed event, do you want to refer the tickets, you want to re-engage them with the event next time. So, it is a solution is depending on what exactly you are doing. Okay. There are times if you are not doing it all, you may have to refund everything to them also, right. So, there you have to figure out what are the inflows and what are outflows. So, if there is a corporate event or is sponsored, we have to figure out in advance in agreements or whatever that okay, this is what is we are happening, this we are doing, and if so and so things may happen, then this could be the course of action. So, much of it what can go wrong should ideally not go wrong, and we have to plan in advance that if it goes wrong, how will you solve it. You have to provide for it everything. Then if something goes wrong which you did not expect, then it is your presence of mind and how to sort out there immediately. So, that is your smartness, but if you have handled some events, that comes natural. I mean if you have handled 10 events, no, then you will know what will, first of all you will ensure that nothing will go wrong. Still something happens, you will know the solution at that point in time as how to sort of come out of it.
Anybody else having any question? Nobody? I think then we come to the end. Okay, sir. Yeah. Okay, thank you, sir. With this, we come to the end of session 4 of SOP 2023. I would now like to request Professor Dr. Susmita Bala ma'am to deliver the final vote of thanks and bring this session to the end.
Thank you, Pramod. Actually, this event management subject is very important for all of you. And sir ने जिस तरह से तुम लोगों को पूरा एक्सप्लेन किया है, मुझे लगता है पूरा इवेंट मैनेजमेंट सर ने पढ़ा दिया इस 3 देर में. एंड कुछ एक दो स्टूडेंट ने पूरे पॉइंट नोट किए जो मैंने देखा, ईच एंड एवरीथिंग नोट किए हैं. इट मीन्स कि उनको क्लैरिटी है व्हाट इज़ इवेंट मैनेजमेंट. अकॉर्डिंग टू यू व्हाट इज़ इवेंट मैनेजमेंट? किसी को समझ में आया या अभी भी ब्लैंक हो? काफ़ी लोग ब्लैंक हैं बिकॉज यू हैव नो प्लानिंग फॉर योर वृतिका एंड अदरवाइज. कोई भी प्लानिंग नहीं है अभी तक, इसलिए तुम्हें क्लैरिटी नहीं है. सर ने बहुत सारी चीज़ें बताई, स्टार्ट टू फिनिश, प्लानिंग टू एग्जीक्यूशन. प्लानिंग में बहुत सारी चीज़ें थी जो आपने नोट डाउन की, समझी. हम लोग बहुत सारे इवेंट करते हैं, आई कैन, वृतिका, अलोहा, बिग स्मॉल इवेंट्स. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू बिग इवेंट, अकॉर्डिंग टू स्मॉल इवेंट, हमें किसको कैसे कवर करना है, दैट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सर ने बताया स्मॉल इवेंट, बिग इवेंट. हम स्मॉल इवेंट, एक छोटे से इंसिडेंट की बात करती हूँ. सक्सेना सर एक प्ले लेके, एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट है फतेहपुर, वहाँ गए थे गांव में प्ले लेके. ठीक है, बहुत बड़ा प्ले था, बहुत बड़ी कॉस्ट थी, कास्ट क्रू काफ़ी था, लेकिन वहाँ के लोग उसको मैनेज नहीं कर पाए जिन्होंने इवेंट होस्ट किया था. सिक्योरिटी इश्यूज़ आ गए, लेकिन क्योंकि आप जब गांव में जा रहे हैं तो आपको सिक्योरिटी इश्यूज़ देखने पड़ेंगे. एंड यू आर अरेंजिंग वन थिएटर और उसमें आपका उसमें डांस वाला भी कोई एंगल है. दुलारी बाई प्ले था, वहाँ लेके गए तो बहुत एट लास्ट सारे मेंबर्स को किसी तरह सिक्योरिटी करके और उनको सेफली रखा गया। अलोहा होता है, अलोहा में तुम्हें आई डोंट नो तुम्हें कितना उसका आइडिया है। अनुगूंज होता है, आपने अनुगूंज में जितने भी लोग गए होंगे उन्हें पता होगा। मीन्स प्री प्लानिंग बहुत सारी होती है, उसके अकॉर्डिंग आप फेस्ट करते हो, बाद में आप पोस्ट वर्क करते हो। इन सारे इवेंट में हमें पोस्ट वर्क ज़रूर हो जाता है। क्यों हो जाता है? क्योंकि हम केवल इवेंट करके छोड़ नहीं देते हैं। ऑल द टाइम मैं तुम लोगों से कहती हूँ ये इवेंट हो गया, अब इसको सारा सम अप करना है, प्लानिंग करनी है, हाउ टू सम अप, कैसे करना है, डॉक्यूमेंटेशन करना है। डॉक्यूमेंटेशन नहीं किया तुम्हारा सारा प्लानिंग वेस्ट है। तो ईच एंड एवरीथिंग सर ने बहुत माइन्यूटली तुम्हें सब चीज़ बताया है। हमें माइन्यूटली क्या क्या देखना है, सारा कवर कैसे करना है, सब कुछ कवर किया है। तो अब मुझे नहीं लगता है कि टीचर्स जब आपको इवेंट मैनेजमेंट पढ़ा रहे हैं तो आपको किसी और बहुत सारी चीज़ों की जो प्लानिंग करनी है, वी कैन थिंक अकॉर्डिंगली, वी कैन एग्जीक्यूट अकॉर्डिंगली। छोटा सा इवेंट प्लान करते हो, लेकिन प्लानिंग के लिए स्ट्रेंथ ज़रूरत है, कोऑपरेशन कोऑर्डिनेशन की ज़रूरत है। दिस इज़ नॉट वन मैन शो। इवेंट में आपको पूरी की पूरी टीम ज़रूरत होती है। इसका क्वेश्चन था स्पॉन्सरशिप को लेके, बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन था। तुम्हारा इवेंट होना है अक्टूबर में, यू हैव नो प्लानिंग एट ऑल। किसी ने मुझसे बात नहीं की, किसी ने टीचर्स से भी कोई प्लानिंग नहीं की है, कोई बात नहीं कि हम कैसे करेंगे एवरीथिंग का। इट्स नॉट 1 मंथ इवेंट, आप ऑर्गेनाइज ही नहीं कर सकते बिकॉज हमने भी कोई प्लानिंग नहीं की है। इट मीन्स कि हमें बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रेंथ की ज़रूरत है, पूरे सेक्शन की ज़रूरत है, पूरे क्लास की स्ट्रेंथ की ज़रूरत है, बिकॉज दिस इज़ 100 मार्क्स प्रोजेक्ट। सो थैंक यू सर, आपने बहुत बहुत अच्छी तरीके से इन लोगों को बताया है, और मुझे लगता है कि जितने लोग यहाँ थे उनको तो सारी अंडरस्टैंडिंग हो गई होगी। जिन्होंने जो नहीं थे उनको ऑब्वियसली इसका बहुत नुकसान हुआ है, बहुत उन्होंने खोया है इस चीज़ को। बट थैंक यू, थैंक यू।